devotees. So just trying to trying to understand and trying to cover this topic. And again, it's only a little. It'll just remove a little bit of more dirt from my heart, hopefully by covering this. So yeah. So before this, we'll start with the Jai Radha Madhava prayers. So do one of the devotees want to sing this prayer? Okay, I can start then, no problem. जय राध माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राध माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। बोलो श्री राधा गिरिधारी भगवान की जय, बोलो श्री गौर निताय की जय, बोलो शिला प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर वृंद की जय। Hare Krishna. Thank you once again to all the devotees who joined. So before going ahead, again, more to do a little bit of purification of myself more than anything else. So I just want to chant these invocation prayers. ओम अपवित्रो पवित्रो वा सर्वावस्थां गतोपि वा यस्मरेत् पुंडरीकाक्षं स भय अभ्यन्तरं शुचिः। श्री विष्णु श्री विष्णु। ओम अज्ञानातिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतिशे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातम् अहं वन्दे परमानंद माधवं। श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणं नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांग्रे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you once again for joining. Again, just to remind myself, whatever little bit we are able to utter and grasp, it's only thanks to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, without whose immense contributions, especially his translations of all these great scriptures, you would have no access whatsoever to any of these great literatures. So before going ahead, so we'll read the Prabhupada Leelamrita, the pastimes of Srila Prabhupada. So I think in the back room, is that where we have to start, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes. In the back room of his apartment, Prabhupada was usually alone, especially in the early morning hours, 2, 3, and 4 a.m., when almost no one else was awake. In these early hours, his room was silent, and he worked alone in the intimacy of his relationship with Krishna. He would sit on the floor behind the suitcase desk, worshipping Krishna by typing the translations and purports of the Srimad Bhagavatam. But this same back room was also used for meetings. And anyone who brought himself to knock on Swami's door could enter and speak with him at any time, face to face. Prabhupada would sit back from the typewriter and give us time to talking, listening, answering questions, sometimes arguing or joking. A visitor might sit alone with him for half an hour before someone else would knock, and Swamiji would invite the newcomer to join them. New guests would come and others would go, but Swamiji stayed and sat and talked. Generally, visits were formal. His guests would ask philosophical questions and he would answer much the same as after a lecture in the storefront. But occasionally, some of the boys who were becoming serious followers would monopolize his time, especially on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday nights, and when there was no evening lecture in the temple. Often they would ask him personal questions. What was it like when he first came to New York? What about India? Did he have followers there? Were his family members devotees of Krishna? What was the spiritual master like? And then Prabhupada would talk in a different way, quieter, more intimate, and humorous. He told how once, one morning in New York, he had first seen snow and thought somebody had whitewashed the buildings. He told how he had spoken at several churches in Butler. And when the boys asked him what kind of churches they were, he smiled and replied, "I don't know." And they laughed with him. He would reminiscence freely about the British control of India and about Indian politics. He told them it was not so much Gandhi as Subhash Chandra Bose who had liberated India. Subhash Chandra Bose had gone outside of India and started the Indian National Army. He entered into an agreement with Hitler that Indian soldiers fighting for British India who surrendered to the Germans would be returned to the Indian National Army to fight against the British. And it was this show of force by Bose more than Gandhiji's non-violence which had led to India's independence. Should we stop there, Mataji?
Yes, thank you, Prabhu.
So it's wonderful. So it's we almost feel envious how much time they used to get with Srila Prabhupada in those old days. So beautiful. So yeah, so we'll continue with the history so far before getting into today's verse. So we saw in the previous sessions how the devotees are covered, how Narada Muni visits King Prachina Bharishad and he instructs the king just as he had instructed his sons, the Prachetas, and he told him how fruitive activities can neither get rid of misery nor bring any happiness, and fruitive activities actually bewilder us to forget the ultimate goal of life because they are keeping us involved in the present. And he also, because it's again specific to that condition, when the king was doing lots of animal sacrifices, he was explaining how animal sacrifices and animal slaughter leads only to sinful reactions. And in this context, he relegated this allegorical story of King Puranjana to Prachina Bharishad and his pastime and his adventures. So, story of King Puranjana. So, and he told him about King Puranjana and Abhignata, who is none other than the super soul within, who cannot be known, and how ignoring the super soul, King Puranjana, the living entity, is wandering in search of sense enjoyment, and the great fortune of taking birth in Bharatvarsha he covered, and by chance the living entity comes to such a state that is probably the human body, and then the city of 9 gates, where he covered again the human body, which is the topmost platform for sensual enjoyment, at least in this earthly planet, and also, more importantly, it is a platform for spiritual advancement. And he described the various wonders of the city of nine gates, and then intelligence, how King Puranjana, the living entity, comes in contact with the intelligence, which is his very dearmost friend, and he described the attractive beauty of intelligence, and the living entities thirst for living material intelligence, how they are attracted, because without intelligence, no, as we'll see today, there is no scope of doing anything in the material world, and how the intelligence fulfills the living entity's desires. That also was covered in an allegorical manner. And so today we will see 4, Canto 4, verse 25 and 37. So this tantalizing invitation from material intelligence. Canto 4, verse chapter 25, verse 27. Imam Tvam Adishtishtva Purim Nava Mukhim Vibho Mayopanithan Grihanana Kama Bhogan Shakam Samaha. Any of the devotees want to try that verse?
I'll try, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Imam tvam adhitisthasva purim navamukhim vibho mayopanitan grihananaha kama bhogan shatam samaha. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. I am also trying.
Yes, please, Mataji.
Imam tam udhitisthasya purim navamukhim vibho mayo panitan grinna kamo bhogan shatam samaha. Hare Krishna.
Anyone else, please? Okay, so we'll continue with the synonyms. Anybody wants to read the synonyms, the word-to-word translations?
Yes, Prabhu, I can read.
Yeah.
Imam desh tvam, your good self, odhitisthasya, just remain, Purim, in the city, Nabha Mukhim, with 9 gates, Vibho, O my Lord, Maya, by me, Upanitan, arranged, Grihana, talking, Kama Bhogan, the materials for sense gratification, Shatam, 100, Samaha, years. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Translation? Anyone?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, let me try.
Yes, Mataji.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. My dear Lord, I have just arranged this city of 9 gates for you so that you can have all kinds of sense gratification. You may live here for 100 years and everything for your sense gratification will be supplied.
Purport as well, Mataji.
Dharmartha Kama Mokshanam Dara Samprapriti Hetava. The wife is the cause of all kinds of success in religion, economic development, sense gratification, and ultimately salvation. When one accepts a wife, it is to be understood that he is being helped in his progressive march towards liberation. In the beginning of life, a person is trained as a brahmachari and is then allowed to marry a suitable girl and become a householder. If one is thoroughly trained in household life, he finds all facilities for human life: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Everything is there if it is executed according to regulative principles.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. So again, Prabhupada is continuing with the allegorical story. So again, we just read this. Imam Tvam Aditishtasva Purim Nava Mukhim Vibho Mayopanitan Grihanana Kama Bhoga Shatam Samaha. My dear Lord, I have just arranged the city of 9 gates for you so that you can have all kinds of sense gratification. You may live here for 100 years and everything for your sense gratification will be supplied. So again, when I was reading this, I think even the previous verse, I remember when a few weeks back when I covered this, looks very, very similar. There also the city of 9 gates was referred to. So again, it's a continuing of this allegory where we should remember, I think constantly, I should keep remembering that what he is actually referring to is intelligence. This when he's talking about this beautiful woman, he's talking about this intelligence, which is actually everybody's companion, whether we are man or woman or any living entity. This intelligence is the constant companion what the Lord has given us. It is closest to the soul, what Lord has given us in this material world. So what is intelligence? I was just thinking, what is this intelligence? So if you look at some of the modern uh, definitions or meanings, for example, if you look in the dictionary, it is said the capacity, especially for learning, reasoning, understanding, and similar forms of mental activity, aptitude in grasping truths, relationships, and meanings. And it's saying it's not just for specific persons, it is applicable for animals as well. So it's nothing very special what human beings have. No? It's animals also have that. And so if you look at it from the medicinal aspect also, from the psychological aspect, so some of the writers, this is how they have described intelligence. They said, intelligence can be defined as the ability to solve complex problems or make decisions with outcomes benefiting the actor. No, for the living entity's benefit. So constantly it's trying to use this tool. And it has evolved in life forms. They think like that. No, it has evolved in life forms to adapt to diverse environments. So living entities are found everywhere, it is said. Even on all the planets, the living entities are there. So adapt to all these environments, the Lord has given intelligence. And here the scientists think that problem solving and decision making are functions of nervous system. Actually, it comes from beyond that. It comes, it's more subtle than just the nervous system, including the brain. So intelligence is closely related to nervous system. That's what they believe. So this is the modern definition, what the material scientists believe. And they also understand that intelligence spans multiple dimensions. It is not just solving just one particular problem. No, so many different dimensions it is decided. If you go here, some of these psychologists, they have said, for example, Howard Gardner, he said bodily kinesthetic intelligence, the ability to control body movements. Even the slowest animal has this. Even the plant has it. How we can see how it goes towards the sun. So it has a level of intelligence. Interpersonal, how to interact with each other. Intrapersonal, that is how to be self-aware, aware of ourselves, aware of what's going on in our mind, aware the control of mind. So logical, mathematical, this mostly people recognize as intelligence, but there are all the other aspects as well. Musical intelligence, then natural intelligence, how to categorize various other living entities. But then verbal, how to use language very nicely. And how to think in terms of image, pictorially. Some people can think very nicely in terms of pictures. So different dimensions to intelligence is recognized even by the modern scientists. So, and this is present in all the living entities. And if you look at what is this origin of intelligence, very nicely in Bhagavatam, it is described. How does intelligence come as part of creation? It said in the 3rd canto, 26th chapter, Taijasa tu vikurvana buddhi tattvam abhut sati dravya spurana vijnanam indriyanam anugraha. It said, by transformation of the false ego in passion, intelligence takes birth. O virtuous lady, because Kapila Muni is explaining to his mother. The functions of intelligence are to help in ascertaining the nature of objects when they come into view and help the senses. So here also Prabhupada says, intelligence is a discriminating power to understand an object and may help the senses make choices. So that's why intelligence is supposed to be the master of the senses, even higher than the mind. So again, we see false ego, when it transforms in goodness, it becomes mind. In ignorance, it becomes all the dull matter, the 5 elements. In passion, it becomes intelligence. And similarly, here if you see the 20th chapter as well, 3rd canto, it is said, So anu vishto bhagavata ya shete shalilashaye loka samstham yatha purvam nirmame samsthaya swaya. When that, similarly, it's right from Lord Brahma to everyone. Who gives us intelligence? The Supreme Lord only gives. It's only if the Supreme Lord doesn't give, nothing. We won't remember anything. We'll have zero intelligence. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead was lying on the Garbhodaka ocean, entered the heart of Brahma, Brahma brought his intelligence to bear. Otherwise, it will just remain dormant. And with this intelligence, he began to create the universe as it was before. So without the Lord's potency, our intelligence will have no effect, even though we are so proud of the intelligence. And what are the features of intelligence? So nicely in the Bhagavatam also described what are the different features of this intelligence, which is our constant companion. In the 26th chapter, so it's saying, Samshayo atha viparyaso nishchaya smritirevacha swapa it uchyate buddher lakshanam vrititha pratak. So doubt, misapprehension, correct apprehension, memory and sleep, as determined by the different functions, are said to be the different characteristics of intelligence. So Prabhupada also very nicely in the purport he says, so if you don't have doubt, we'll never learn. No? We should that is the nature. No, if you want to learn something new, we have to doubt. Okay, how did this happen? Is this correct? Is this the correct understanding? Then we'll come to the right understanding. Misapprehension. Then we blindly, even Prabhupada used to say, even what I am saying, you don't blindly accept, he'll say. You think, use your intelligence, and then you accept this, whatever I am saying in Krishna consciousness as well. So it's it's a very important tool what the Lord has given. And it's among Krishna's most powerful energies. It says among the eight, when he is talking about the eight energies, so intelligence is almost the topmost, just next to the soul, the next door companion of the soul. The soul is a living entity, and it's accompanied by all the eight energies and intelligence, and for false ego, intelligence, mind, and then the five material elements. And even in the third chapter also, the Lord says this intelligence is the topmost. Actually, it is Indriyani paran ahur, Indriyebhya param manaha, manasastu para buddhir, yo buddhe parasastu saha. So above the senses, sense objects is the senses, and above these senses is the mind, and above the mind is the buddhi, and the buddhi is the closest to the soul. Buddhi is closest to the soul. So because it's yes, it's very close to the soul, and it is the field of all interactions. In 13th chapter, it is given. No, this five elements along with buddhi, along with mind. This is the entire. It gives the entire domain. The Lord sets the domain. For the lower animals, the domain is very small, and as we advance, for the human being, he has set a very huge domain where we are talking about the entire universe is a domain. So with great power comes great responsibility. No, it is said. So we have to be careful, because even though it's very powerful, the most powerful tool is also can be the most dangerous. Pitfalls of material intelligence is there. So buddhim tu pramadam vidyan mamaham iti yatkritam yam adhishthaya dehesmin puman bhunkte shabir gunan. So very nicely, again in the same fourth canto, later Narada is explaining to this Prachina Barishat. He's saying this pramada means material intelligence, he's saying, or ignorance, as Prabhu had said earlier, ignorance. So intelligence, ignorance, he's telling it's the same. Material intelligence, same as ignorance. Then when one takes shelter of this material intelligence, I identify myself with my material body. Influenced by the consciousness of I and mind, I enjoy. So it gives me great skill to enjoy with the senses, but it's entrapping me, this material intelligence. So it's a very dangerous tool. It can cut both ways. Same thing in the 2.63 also. In the second chapter also, Lord says the same thing. No, because finally when intelligence fails only, buddhi nashat pranashyati is saying. No, finally what happens? Because of all the anger, and because of the anger, the memory is lost. Then when the memory is lost, then the intelligence, I lose my intelligence. And when the intelligence goes, then I fall down back into the material pool. So all my this thing is gone. Once my intelligence goes away. And because we trust it so much, then what happens if it's hiding something? then we say, yeah, my intelligence is telling me. So it might be correct. But what? The intelligence is hiding the enemy within. Intelligence, even though it is so close to me, it is saying, Indriyani mano buddhir asya dishthanam uchyate etar vimohetyesha jnanam avritya dehinam. So he's saying this is the great enemy, the intelligence is hiding. No, the senses is hiding the lust. Then I know, oh, my senses is running here and there. I have some realization. And mind, I can think. I'm not able to control my mind. But I never think I'm not able to control my intelligence. I constantly imagine that intelligence is under my control, but actually intelligence is the most dangerous place because the lust is there and I am thinking that is right because my intelligence is telling me. And so it covers my real knowledge. So it's a very powerful tool, but very dangerous. And it puts one in a dreamlike state. In the 11th canto, it said the material intelligence, it puts me in a dreamlike state. So it is said, Suptasya Vishaya Loko, Dhyayato va Manoratha, Nana Makadva Vifalas, Tata Bhedatma Dhir Gunaihi. So very nicely, it's so nicely it explains in this, no? He's saying when we are sleeping, we see so many sense objects, no? But ultimately we realize that it is just all creation of our imagination and thus ultimately useless. So similarly, he's saying, is such a nice analogy he's giving, because I am asleep, I don't know my real spiritual identity. So what all sense objects I'm seeing in this life is actually just creation of my own, the illusory potency, the Lord's illusory potency. So obviously it has no permanent existence. So I'm just uselessly engaging my God-given intelligence in objects which have no permanent nature. So it's like in a dreamlike state, literally as if sleepwalking. And so in this purport, Prabhupada compares intelligence to a faithful partner. And we should remember whenever it is said, no, at least in the Kali Yuga, we should remember it applies to both genders. It's not, we cannot say, oh, he's talking about women, because he's actually talking about intelligence, and intelligence is there for all living entities. And he's saying similarly, Krishna says, this woman is the manifestation of my energy. And similarly, he says, intelligence is also me, he's saying. Intelligence is so mighty, it is me. So actually, it is Krishna's energy, and it applies to both. No? In this thing, just try to understand the mighty strength of my Maya in the shape of woman, who by the mere movement of her eyebrows can keep even the greatest conquerors of the world under her grip, he's saying. So this is again Krishna's energy. We understand as Krishna's energy. We should not think, oh, this is criticizing woman, or this is no. It's nothing like that. Because because it's said, no, in this material world, this bodies we keep on changing, right? And even psychologically, it is admitted that nobody is psychologically fully male characteristics or psychologically fully female characteristics. Physically, we may be male and female, but psychologically, we have both male characteristics and female characteristics, all the living entities. So it applies to both. We have to be careful of this energy, what the Lord has given. And yes, because this the wife, she supports the male entity in the endeavor. She is known as the better half, and it is even in the normal colloquial also we say better half. Even in the Bhagavatam, it is said it is the better half, which very nicely is explained in the third canto. It is said, and the desire tree. So when the husband and wife are together, it is saying all the wishes are fulfilled. In the third canto, it is 21st chapter. It is said. So it is said when this is which Muni was this? He approached the Swayambhu Manu's daughter. He married Kardama Muni. So he approached Vishnu. He's saying, allow me to marry a girl of like disposition. No? When you choose a partner, like disposition, so that she'll give me a veritable cow of plenty in my desire, in my married life. To satisfy my lustful desire, I have to have taken the shelter of your lotus feet. So Prabhupada very nicely said, even if you have the lustful desires, approach only Krishna. No need to approach anybody else. And wife shelter, it is described again in the third canto. When we are together, that's why Prabhupada calls the Grihastha ashram as the safe ashram. Safe ashram, no? He's saying it's not a sure shot, but it's at least safe. No? So it said the wife shelter allows one to conquer the senses. Yam astri endriya rathin durjayan itarachramai vayam jayema helabir dasyam durga patiryata. As a fort commander can very easily conquer invading partners, by taking shelter of a wife, one can conquer the senses, which are unconquerable in other social orders. So again, you have to remember it applies to both partners in the Kali Yuga. So even though it may specifically say patni or it may say wife like that, no? Because both are in the same boat actually. No, we can't say one is better or one is worse than the other. And very nicely in the Bhagavatam, the qualities of a good partner also are mentioned. So this can be again applicable to both. We cannot say it's applicable only to male or female. No? So very nicely these characteristics are said. No? So we can say the woman we can replace by partner. So the chaste woman should not be greedy, satisfied in all circumstances. It's applicable to everyone. Why only women? No? She must be very expert in handling household affairs and fully conversant to religious principles. She should speak pleasingly and truthfully. So surely even the male member should speak pleasingly and truthfully and should be careful and always clean and pure. Thus, a chaste woman should engage with affection in the service of a husband who is not fallen. So it is a two-way traffic. It's not just the woman serving the man. It is a two-way traffic. It's a partnership, as we'll see later. And sometimes we see the Bhagavatam statements made, oh, my dear husband, after you go, please take me with you. Let me serve you in the afterlife. So many such statements, many such places, the statements are there. For example, when Madri, when Pandu Maharaja dies, there's Kunti and Madri are saying like that. And even in Hiranyakashipu's thing, we see Hiranyaksha dies, then his wives are lamenting that you take us with you like that. No? So, but is it life after life? So it may be very rare cases. Very rare cases, the husband, wife, they continue life after life like that. Very rare. Ultimately, Prabhupada says this family life is ephemeral. In this, in the 11th canto, it is said. 11th canto, 17th chapter. Putra dharapta bandhunam sangama panta sangamaha anudeham viyantyete swapno nidra nugoyata. The association of children, wife, relatives, and friends is just like a brief meeting of travelers. With each change of body, one is separated from all such associates. Just as one loses the objects one possesses in a dream when the dream is over. So this association is saying it's not a permanent association. It's quite ephemeral. It's quite ephemeral. So he says, the Lord says, yes, you definitely you should be very affectionate to the people around you. Definitely you should be very affectionate and do all your familial duties, but don't get entangled. Don't get affected or don't get entangled by it. Don't get negatively affected by it. Positively affected is very good, but don't get negatively affected by such entanglements. And then again, this of course probably applicable in Kali Yuga. No? So in the 12th canto, it is said the marriage in Kali Yuga or the partnership, as we've seen all over, it's for the wrong reasons, for wealth, for so-called very superficial reasons, you can say. Superficial, which is just skin deep, which doesn't go beyond the skin. So we should be partners and not plunderers. No? Plunderers, each person is trying to take advantage of other, as we see. No? As we see all around us in Kali Yuga. So it's not that we are not affected. Just a moment's notice, I can get affected very easily because my intelligence is wayward. No? So I should keep watch that I am a partner, not a plunderer. And as I mentioned, together for the wrong reasons. Whether it is, again, it applies both to male and female. Now, sometimes you may say, oh, the wife is in the Bhagavatam, it might be said, the wife is like, the family is like Jekyll, like that. No? So we should not think, no, the male is very virtuous. It is in the 3rd canto, it is said, the male who appears as because of attachment to the female, he appears as a female, and then we can see his illusion as well. That's also described in the 3rd canto. So we're not going to the details again because of the time. So, but in the 12th canto, this sloka we can, this 3rd canto we can see this. Yam manyate patin mohan man maya rishabhayatim Stritvam Stri Sangata Prapto Vittha Patya Griha Prada. A living entity who, as a result of his attachment to woman in his previous life, has been endowed in the form of a woman, foolishly looks upon Maya in the form of a man, her husband as the bestower of wealth, progeny, house, and other material assets. When in fact, all this is actually coming from Krishna, not from other living entities. Whatever fortune, whatever we're getting is only due to Krishna. So we can see if we are too much affected, no? If we are too much affected by negatively by the partner's behavior, whether it's male or female, we can remember even King Uttanapad's behavior. No? He was negatively affected by his intense affection towards younger wife Suruchi because of again superficial reasons, and then we saw how badly he behaved to his son Prince Dhruva at the young age of 5 years, and his wife Suniti. He behaved so badly just because he was badly affected, negatively affected by intense affection. Intense, not we cannot attain affection, entanglement or attachment. So Bhagavatam teaches us to partner with intelligence, no? So it cuts it both ways. It means, no, partnering with intelligence. Intelligence is our partner, so to partner with it. And when we are partnering in this material world, we are choosing our partners, living with partners intelligently. So mutual satisfaction. It is said in any partnership, mutual satisfaction is the key. In the fourth canto, it is said. Tam kama yanam bhagavan uvaha yajusam patihi tushtayam trosham apanno janer dvardashatmajan. So the Lord himself is giving setting an example for us. The Lord of Yajna later married Dakshina, who was anxious to have the personality of Godhead as a husband. And in this wife, the Lord was very much pleased to beget 12 children. So very nicely in the purport, Prabhupada says, very nicely, the ideal husband is called Lakshmi Narayan. Not because they have become Lakshmi and Narayan, but it's saying the qualities. The wife should remain satisfied with the husband, and the husband should remain satisfied with the wife. And if the both are satisfied with each other, then he is saying, then Lakshmi comes. Otherwise, I may be thinking, oh, I'm working so hard, no Lakshmi is coming. No, when I'm not showing this quality, how Lakshmi will come? No, even if I'm working 24 hours a day, it's not going to come. Sorry. It's a cooperative venture. No, it's a cooperative venture. In the sixth canto also it is said, and fourth canto also. So without cooperation, it is not possible. Kritam ekata renapi dampatyor ubhayorapi patnyam kuryad anarhayam patiretat samahitaha. Between the husband and wife, one person is sufficient to execute this devotional service, it is said. No? Why even two? But because of their good relationship, both of them will enjoy the result. See what benefit this is. Therefore, even if one of the partners is unable to execute the process, the other partner should carefully do so, and the faithful wife will share the result. Again, as I said, applicable to both. We need not say the man is superior or the female is superior. No? So, if as a partnership, if you are both cooperating and doing it, then both will get the result. What to speak of material, even spiritual success. The fourth canto, as well said. No? We can just see the translation. Again, the great personalities have set the example. Archie's example is there. How she partnered her husband to achieve spiritual success. Although she was not accustomed to such difficulties, Queen Archie followed her husband in the regulative principles of living in the forest like great sages. She lay down on the ground, ate only fruits, flowers, and leaves because she was not fit for this activity. She became frail and thin. Yet, because of the pleasure derived in serving her husband, she did not feel any difficulty. Again, it's not that we are recommending that we should immediately go to the forest and live like we cannot imitate Queen Archie and King Prithu. No? But when the meaning is when we do it as a cooperative venture, then success is assured in the spiritual. So this intelligence, as you said, it's a very close partner, and this intelligence we have to concentrate. Krishna says, again in the second chapter, in the sixth chapter also he says, when we concentrate our intelligence, we get the maximum benefit. It's just like anything, no? When we concentrate and put our time and resource and the effort in one single thing, then obviously we get success. Otherwise, it's all spread out, no? It's all spread out. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kuru nandana is saying, no? Ekeha, very single pointed, no? Otherwise, it's all just spread out. Today I'm interested in this, tomorrow I'm interested in something else. So even the sixth chapter also, Lord says same thing. See, gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction. That means single-pointed. And thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and think of nothing else. When you concentrate the intelligence, automatically success will come. And Sri Krishna reveals the Buddhi Yoga, the true intelligence. True intelligence, when it can be, when it is focused on Krishna. And he himself gives this, he is saying in the 10th chapter, a very famous verse, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. No? So when we engage in the action, the intelligence automatically follows, he's saying. No? Because normally in the material activity, we think, first let me have the intelligence and then I will act. But see, this is reverse logic. Krishna is saying, first you act. No? First you act. How I'll act? Because somebody else is ordering me. No? The devotee is ordering me, so I'll act as per the devotee's orders. Then automatically I'll get the intelligence to know what to do and what not to do. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me in love, Krishna gives the understanding by which they can go to him. And how to establish control over intelligence? Again, very scientifically in the Bhagavad Gita, it is explained that we have to recognize that intelligence is under our control. The moment we give intelligence control over ourselves, then it will take us for a big ride. Yesterday also Prabhuji was telling, over-intelligent. Over-intelligent is what? Intelligence has gone over us. It is taking control of us and taking us wherever it wants to. And then obviously we come to a sorry end. When we don't recognize that intelligence should be, it's like it's saying, fire also they say, fire is a good servant, but it's a very bad master when we allow fire to control us. So same thing in the 8th chapter also, it is said how this intelligence is the most powerful, just next to the soul. 8th chapter. So 7th verse. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha mayarpita manobuddhir mame vaishyasya samshaya. Because in material world, Arjuna is Krishna is accepting that yudhyacha, we have to do battle every day. Every day we have to do battle in the material world. So, but what he is saying, think of me in the form of Krishna. Think of Krishna personally. At the same time, we carry out all our daily material activities. And then automatically our activities are dedicated to Krishna and our mind and intelligence is fixed on Krishna. So then obviously we will get spiritual success. So in spite of engaging in daily material activities, normal day-to-day activities, our spiritual success is assured when we are constantly thinking of Krishna's personal form. And how is it possible? It's possible only by the mercy of the Lord's devotees. Only by Lord's devotees this is possible. Otherwise, there's no possibility to put control on our intelligence. Intelligence is a very bad master. So this shloka seems very complicated. I'll just read the translation. So very nicely it is said here. Dear Lord, unless one worships the lotus feet of the great devotees, one will be conquered by the illusory energy and his intelligence will be bewildered. Indeed, who has not been carried away by the waves of material enjoyment, which is like poison? Your illusory energy is unconquerable. No one can see the path of this material energy or tell how it is working. So very nicely he says, unless we are at the lotus feet of the great devotees, unless that is there, my intelligence will be bewildered. Intelligence won't be under my control. So very, very nicely it is said here also in this purport. Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastre Kaya Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Hiddhi Hoy. So when we have the right partner in the spiritual sense, and then obviously by the mercy of such a devotee, then we have the right intelligence. And when we have the right intelligence, and then we are able to achieve spiritual success. So everything comes with having the right partner and the right guidance. And again, as I said, we should remember this is not applicable that female should take male's guidance and nothing like that. We are, if like both tend to fall, so both have to take the right guidance, and then we have the intelligence is fixed. Mahat kripa veena kona karme bhakti nae Krishna Bhakti Dure Rahu, Samsara Nahi Kshay, it's saying, no? He's saying when we don't have the right association, Krishna Bhakti Dure Rahu, no? He's saying forget all the spiritual path. Even the day-to-day material success doesn't come, he's saying, when we don't have the right association. When you don't have the right association or the right partnership, no? And finally also, Prahlad Maharaj also emphasized the same thing, no? Naisham matis tavad urukramangrim spurshat anartha pagamo yadartha mahiyasam pada rajobhishekam niskinchananam na prinita yavat. One cannot become the Lord's pure devotee without taking the dust of a great devotee on his head. A pure devotee is niskinchana. He has no material desire to enjoy the material world. One has to take shelter of such a pure devotee in order to attain his qualities. The pure devotee is always free from the clutches of Maya and its influence. No? Incidentally, I was just reading yesterday. There's some advertisement campaign in the US. Of course, they are presenting Lord Jesus Christ, and they're very interestingly, they're presenting how humble he was. The most pleasure he used to take, he's saying, he used to wash the other devotees' feet. Lord Jesus Christ, when he was there in this earth. So I found that very interesting. Same thing is emphasized even in the Vedic thing. And it's saying even the Lord Jesus Christ used to take pleasure in washing the other devotees' feet and taking the dust. So you are setting an example, example for all the devotees. So when this happens, then we get the right intelligence. When we get the right intelligence, and then we achieve spiritual success. So I just wanted to conclude that. So saying how to partner with intelligence. So anybody wants to add anything or correct anything, kindly do so. I just wanted to conclude.
Thank you, Prabhu. So very elaborate analysis of this verse. It's amazing how one should partner with intelligence to progress in life. And you also emphasize the equality of the two genders. It doesn't apply to one gender only. When Bhagavatam refers to women, it also refers to men. So that was a very good point. Intelligence is poor. We can see even this material world, especially with the government office. Like in India, they are promoting liquor, especially in Delhi and other states. And because they say it generates revenue. I mean, generates revenue, but there's so many flawed effect from consumption of liquor. So their intelligence is deluded. They think,
Correct.
Oh, we need more, but they don't have the intelligence that can have so much bad effect or flawed effects. So, I mean, just one example. I mean, so this analysis, all the politicians should, elaborate on this person, give right direction. Yeah, even this national government is abolishing these no smoking zones. They're losing revenue because there are a lot of illicit cigarette sellers. So they just to increase the revenue, they want to do this. I mean,
but they don't know long term. Actually, they're losing more money, even materially, in the terms of health. All that they're losing more. Yes.
Yeah, there are more cancer cases, and they're actually cutting down budget for health budgets. So I mean, this completely misdirected intelligence. I mean, thank you for this very good analysis. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Anybody else has got any comments before we close? Prabhu, it doesn't seem to be, so we'll end the class here. Thank you very much for the class.
Panchakshatra kripa sindhu bhayavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. His Grace Poshak Madhava Prabhu ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Bol. All glories to Assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.